Hello, today we discuss how to overview results of budgeting exercise. The tool offers 5 tabs. 3 tabs show results of the budgeting itself. 1 tab shows the results of external funding, so it presents content in entered in projects, and this is external funding here in the menu. So we have 3 budget tables, output tables. We have 1 external funding table, and then we have a tab with resources. So let's start first with budgets. Let's go to budget output table number 1. We can click it here, or we can go there by using tab names down. If you have read in the user guide, in the methodology, and then in the user manual section, you can remember that the idea of composing several tables in different format was to tailor them to the profile and the needs of various types of users. And generally, we recognize users like program officers, program managers, video surveillance professionals. This is one group. Another group is financing specialists in charge of planning, budgeting, and then development partners who are interested not only in the landscape overall, but also how transition happens, how resources are, how external internal funding contributes to sustaining critical surveillance activities. So let's go now one by one, and we see budget table 1, where it is believed to be helpful for program specialists, them to see how, and actually more also presumably more for financial specialists, because it shows budget holders in the first row. So it groups the results by budget holders, then by functions, and by input terms, which is current capital and specific economic cost. So this very concise table actually combines the features of purely structural budget design, where budget holders are primary kind of a column, and you can see how much money goes to them. Then programmatic budget, which shows what are the functions or activities the budget is allocated to, and then a more economic segment where it describes what this money buys, what are the commodities, supplies, assets, or other services, including labor, purchased with this money. So this is what you see here. It's not much to change. It's mostly for viewing it, and this is dynamic as well, because if more line items are added, the list goes longer, and it's always concluded with this grand total tab. Let's go to the budgets 2. The same numbers here are presented for program people, because it starts from disease, and we assumed, if you remember in the planning tab video, that the easiest way to see the entire picture for many people in programs is, in the PD management specialist, is to see it through diseases. So first is the disease name, then surveillance activity, and then input types, and then the integration level. And now we'll stop here, because you may ask, what is the value of this column if all values are no? So why do we need it? There is another interesting parameter in the settings. So if we go to the settings tabs, let's go home to main, and then no key parameters. There is a one switch here which says show inputs with zero values, and it's set to 0. No, it means that it will show only items with budget more than 0. So if it's a 0, it's not counted. So if we switch now to yes, it means that the tool now will show all budget line items. So let's go back to the budget table 2 and see what happens. Here it is. Now you see that more budget line items are on the screen with 0 values, but now we can see which input is integrated and which input is and where it is integrated, in terms of is it integrated into surveillance budget line item or is integrated into health system like this one. And every time, just to recall, if a line, so input is integrated somewhere, we don't calculate the budget, because it means that it's already covered. So this financing something takes care of it, and we don't need to eat budget. And therefore, if this table is viewed by development partners or program managers interested in transition, maybe yes, this layout is much more informative because they see the situation with integration. But we will come to that. There's another table which can be very helpful. So let's keep this option yes, or let's see all values and go to the next tab. It shows organizations. It shows it's for program managers because it shows how the budget is distributed by administrative different types of budget holders, by admin levels. So other way around, how across the administrative vertical different surveillance functions are implemented. So what is the distribution of the budget across national, subnational level by types of budget holders. So this information can be also interesting for budget people as well. And it's quite informative in this regard. So it's quite simple again by its layout. By the way, as to the layout, let's go back to the setting. There's another interesting feature which, so you see it shows, okay, user can select output table layout. By default, all tables, budget 1, budget 2, budget 3, they are in a outline layout, which means that if this, so if it's an admin, you don't have admin all the way down. It's just one time mentioned, and then analysis feedback is mentioned one time, and then the turn comes for other function. Same about the input type, and of course inputs are repeated because they are unique. So you see it's kind of stepping and to different, so every column, values in every column are mentioned once and they are not repeated. But now if we go to the setting, let's go to the setting and press and switch outline layout to no, which means that the tool will use now table layout. And let's see how different it is. So we can go to the same table, and you see the content is everywhere there. So it's no anymore layout is a simple table and values are repeated. So maybe some users prefer to see it this way, or to copy and use for grouping this way. So personally, when I want to read the table, I prefer to get rid of any repeating values because they don't add too much to me. So I prefer to have outline layout, meaning that I see minimum unique critical information on the screen, and there are no distraction. But in case I need to copy and use in the pivot table, maybe I prefer to have this simple table layout. But that's just a feature which helps to change the way tool presents tables. Again, that's a part of its dynamic nature. Now we are finished with the 3 budgets, and the description of the budgets is more detailed in the manual. Let's go to now project results. It's in external worksheet. So you see how the tool groups the results is by donor type, by donors, by diseases, by functions, and by activities. And we have to remember that all these values here are presented in the national currency, no matter which currency was used when the project was registered. So this table is definitely interesting for healthcare financing specialists, for development partners, because they see what is the contribution of the particular donor and development partners. But the 5th tab, I think it brings together a very interesting view, because it actually tries to combine into one and put next to each other the funding from both sources, internal and external. So you see on the left you have disease names, and you see it's a little bit narrow, so we can make it wider. And how to do this trick, how to change the column width, you can find it in the user guide. Then it comes surveillance function, activity, because actually these swings are common both for project and both for budget. Also budget goes deeper and it estimates cost for inputs, but we don't have inputs in the projection tab, and therefore the connection happens at the level of disease and surveillance activity. So when you see in the left column, this is the role of budget, internal funding. This is 0, means nothing comes from external sources, and that's the total amount of resources. It's just for illustrative point of view, and please don't pay attention to the actual numbers. It makes no sense. It's size. So this table, I think, is very helpful to assess the transition, because if you compare the same table for the previous year and previous years, you can see how the share of the internal funding changed over the years. It shows whether the country transitions successfully or its dependency on external funding increase every year. These are, again, 5 main tables: resources, external, budget 1, budget 2, and budget 3, where all computation results are coming, and they help us to visualize the work done in tabs planning, again, where with the budget results, and we enter the budgets, and then with the budget results here, and data entered in the tab project. Thank you for staying with me through all the through this video, and we have one more video to produce and share with you. This video will be, 2 videos. One will be about integration, and one will be about scenario building. Thank you for watching us. Goodbye.